Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome. Glad you stopped by. So we're getting ready to make a dessert. And if you saw yesterday's video, I couldn't decide if it was going to be rice pudding, bread pudding, or something else. I just didn't know. Another thing I want to try is date nut log. That is something that has been in my family forever, and only one person has the recipe because the one person that had the recipe from the last generation only handed it down to one person, and they'll hand it down to the next generation. And it's up to them to make it every year. Well, unfortunately, with me living in a completely different town than my brother, we don't always get together for the holidays, so I don't always get it. But I found a recipe I believe is close. So we're gonna try that, but that'll probably be for the new year. So today, I decided we'd do bread pudding. Based on a comment in the potato candy video, which by the way has hit 110,000 views. Crazy. I guess you could say that's viral. I don't know. I don't know what viral means, but that's okay. Well, I do know what it means, but I don't know when it's considered viral. But I appreciate every last one of those watches and all the new subscribers and all that stuff, and the comments. But in the comments, one of the comments was their mom, I believe it was their mom, might have been their grandma, used to make not only rice pudding for the holidays, but they would make bread pudding, but they made it on the stovetop, and that they couldn't find a recipe. Well, I found a recipe. It may not be their family recipe by any means, but I found one, and I thought, let's try it. My wife was like, no, you can't make bread pudding on the stovetop, so she actually watched a couple videos with me, and she was like, oh, wow. So, and I mean, Chris would know, she loves bread pudding. I've never had it. Not ever once in 50 some odd years. Same with rice pudding. I've never had it either that I'm aware of. And so I thought, well, we're gonna try both of those over the next couple weeks. If you wanna see, I was thinking about what cookies and stuff to do, but I have a playlist on my channel, if you go to my channel, to Mr. Smith's Kitchen, that has cookies and candies on it, that has all my Christmas cookies that I've made over the past couple of years, and there's a few of them to do on top of what we've done here recently, and I think that's where you'd find the potato candy video too. But there's stained glass cookies, chocolate chip cookies, there's molasses and ginger snaps, and just all kinds of holiday style cookies on there. And I said, hey, check them out. Why not? That would be a good reference point for cookie ideas. So anyhow, that being said, if you're new, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. I hope you check out some of my other videos. Consider subscribing. And with subscribing, let's keep going with that like, subscribe, and share thing. Holy cow, is our neighborhood growing. We're over 2,800 subscribers now, well on our way to 3,000, which is so just insane. I'm digging it though. That means our community is becoming a small village, not just a neighborhood, and that's awesome. But anyhow, yeah, like I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comments, always welcome. Love comments. Just be nice. It's okay to point out flaws. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's not okay to disagree. Just think before you type, because it will get you blocked from my channel. We promote niceness and being a good neighbor, and being rude is not being a good neighbor. So anyhow, that being said, I will give you all your measurements in tablespoons, cups, teaspoons. I will also give you everything in grams and milliliters. That way everybody can play along. So let's go ahead and get down to the counter and let's start doing this bread pudding on the stovetop. Hold on for me just 1 second. All right, we are down here at the counter. Got the recipe right here. I know you can't see it, but if you're new, I write every recipe down in a notebook. And if we like it, we keep it. If we don't, we pitch it. So things you will need for this adventure, I have got a 9-inch cast iron skillet. It's actually my cast iron pie pan that I'm going to make this in. I've got a tight fitting lid. If you don't have a tight fitting lid, which that may not be tight, it recommends you use foil. So we'll see. If it fits tight, then we're good. I mean, because it fits, but does it fit tightly? It is to be the recipe that I saw it done with. It had a really cool lid that had several layers, and it sat down on there and completely closed it off. And that one does too, but we're using cast iron, so it might be a little different. But anyhow, you need a pan, 9-10 inch pan, and a lid. And then a couple of bowls. Now the first thing I did, let's talk about the bread for a second. I have, this happens to be an Italian loaf that was fresh this morning when I bought it. But it, what I did was a couple things. I went ahead and broke it up and I let it set, but before I broke it up, I put it in the toaster to toast it a little bit, get some of the moisture out of it, so it felt stale, and it does feel stale. I mean, there's a little bit of freshness to it, but not much. You can use any bread you want. I mean, really, this recipe is designed for something to do with your stale bread. But fresh bread's okay too. You just want to make sure it soaks everything up. But it's designed for stale bread, so just toast it a little bit. You can even use regular old standard white bread. Try to stay away from like the sourdoughs, the multigrains, things that have a bit of savory and bitter to it, because you want something that's enriched. You want a not so healthy bread, basically. Brioche was one that I saw that was rather popular when you're making this specifically for bread pudding. But brioche to buy store-bought is very expensive, and I don't know how to. It's not that I don't know how to make bread. I don't have the ability to make bread. My hands don't work that well anymore to need it. So, 3 cups of that at about 218 grams. It's really going to depend on what kind of bread you use, because some breads are heavier than others. Potato bread is way heavier than, say, wheat bread in weight. So, 3 cups. Around 218 grams is what you're looking for. Yeah, and then we just cube that up, set it to the side. First thing we gotta do, I got 2 large eggs in here at 100 grams, and I'm just gonna break those real quick, give them a good head start. And to that, I am going to add 1/3 of a cup of milk, which is 100 grams, or 100 milliliters, which is also 100 grams. We'll get that in there. Might be closer to 95 milliliters, but we'll say 100 for what fors and whatnots. I have 1/4 cup of heavy cream, which is 60 milliliters. We're gonna put that in here. Anybody else ever notice that you pour your liquid in, turn the apparatus back up, and all of a sudden you've got enough in there to pour like another tablespoon or teaspoon in your bowl with? I think that's crazy. I've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and go ahead and put that in there. And then we're gonna do 2 tablespoons, 30 grams, and that 1 teaspoon, by the way, is 4 grams of vanilla, and then 2 tablespoons, 30 grams of just regular granulated sugar. We're gonna go ahead and get that in there. And we're gonna give this a good stir, using our whisk. This egg beater whisk is like the greatest little whisk ever. If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one. It's not gonna whisk big bowls of whatever, but by God, when it comes to doing little stuff like this, genius. And it doesn't take long to do. All right, we got that mixed together. Boop, 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 boop. And we'll take our bread, and we're just going to pour this over the top like such. Get the spatula out here so we can get all that goodness out. Like that. And then we'll give this a good mix. And what we want to do is we are going to leave this sit here for about 15 minutes. I mean, you could literally let this sit overnight if you want to. Just put a plastic wrap or something on it and stick it in the fridge. But you want to ensure that all of that gets soaked up into the bread. So minimum 15 minutes, but it could, if it has to sit an hour, let it sit an hour. I don't think it's going to take that long though. I think 15 minutes or so will be just fine. You just want to make sure it all gets soaked up. Okay, so we've let our bread soak. Took about 15 minutes, and right there's what we look like. And all the batter is gone. There's no more egg at the bottom of it, so to speak. So that's good. That means it's all soaked up in there. not long at all. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna warm our pan up, and I'm gonna put that 2 tablespoons, 28 grams worth of butter in here, and we're gonna let that melt completely and coat the pan. And you can also add oil. Mine is already got the oil on it from where, you know, I keep it clean. But 2 tablespoons of butter. You can also do a little bit of oil if you've got a pan that likes to stick a little, or you know, if you're using a non-stick pan, just 2 sticks of butter, or 2 tablespoons of butter. So anyhow, let's get that melted, and then we can move on. All right, so our butter is melted, and I've got my heat on low to medium low. We don't want it up real high. We don't want anything to burn. It's kind of like cooking eggs. When you cook scrambled eggs, you cook them low and slow, right? That way you get the fluffiest, you know, possible, you know, egg out there, and they don't burn. So now we'll go ahead and we'll get our bread in there and get the rest of that custard mix out of the bottom there. That last little bit of scrapings. Nothing left behind. We'll go ahead and get this flattened out, get us a nice little circle here. And like I said, we want to heat this on, you know, keep it on medium low. I think if you went any higher than that, or low to medium low, any higher than medium low, and I would almost lay odds it's going to burn. At least using cast iron it will, because cast iron gets hot and it retains its heat. It cooks differently than just a standard non-stick skillet. So we've got that in there, and the last thing I've got is 2 tablespoons, about 30 grams of raisins. Now you can use whatever you like. Chris, my wife, said that she's always had raisins, so that's what we're going to use. Because like I said, I've never had this before, so raisins work for me. Now we're going to put the lid on this, and we're going to cook it low and slow for about 11 minutes, right? And so I'll go ahead and set my timer. And after 11 minutes, we're going to flip it. So when I come back, the 11 minutes should be up, and we'll make an attempt to flip this bad boy over. All right, I'll see you here in a second. All right, timer just went off. So we've been 11 minutes. So we got to pop that off. I know it looks and smells wonderful, and it's a crackling. Turn that down a little bit. So now, just got to make sure we're, you know, not sticking to the pan, and we're not. That's awesome. Yeah, well, might be a little bit right here in the corner, but yep. Make sure our edges are good. At least, oh yeah, we're in good shape. All right, so what we got to do now, as soon as I ensure we are completely broke free. Yeah, if I was using a non-stick pan, which are reasons why we don't use them, I wouldn't have to probably worry about that. But cast iron can be finicky, and I don't use this pan a whole lot. So now I'm going to take a pan, put on my other mitt here. You say old and tattered. I say it was my mom's, and it's been around since the late 70s. We're going to go ahead and flip that over and get it off the pan like such. Get that little piece right there out. Not that anybody is going to notice and or care. It looks beautiful so far. I'm going to say winner chicken dinner. Now we are going to take another tablespoon of butter and get it put in there, and we're going to melt that down. Got our butter melted down. Now all we got to do is slide our bread back in there, just like such. And we will continue to cook this on this side, but only for about 6 minutes. So I'll get my lid on, make sure we're on the heater, set our timer for 6 minutes, and we'll run. All right, timer just went off. Let me grab my oven mitts here again because we're gonna need them. and get this lid off. Okay, it's crackling like it was the first time. I can see the butter bubbling around the edges. That's a good sign, because that was the way it was last time. And I think we are going to be in good shape. Oh yeah. Yep, so we are moving easy. So, now we gotta kind of wash, rinse, repeat. We're going to, and I did turn the stovetop off, for those of you who might have caught that and been curious. It amazes me the little details that people will catch, which I think is great myself. So we'll go ahead and get that flipped over onto this pan here. By the way, if you don't own any cast iron, this would be a good one to start with, really. It's made by Lodge. It's pretty versatile. I use it a lot as a pie pan. I think that is, you know, one of the best pie pans I own, and it's cast iron, and it makes your crust just so crispy. And no, I'm not like sponsored by them or anything. It just is really a good product. But there, my friends, is our bread, you know, our bread pudding, and I think it looks good. I don't know how it will compare to, say, bread pudding from an oven, because I've never had it, which I know, like I said, most people find that very weird, and I think the only reason why I haven't ever had it, because I've had plenty of dinners where it's been available. It just was something that by the time I ate the main meal, had a piece of pie or whatever, I never got around to it. Rice pudding, I can't recall a time that anybody in my family growing up ever made it. So that never happened. But I really can't wait to do date log. That's going to be awesome. That was always my favorite dessert growing up that my great aunt would make. My all-time favorite dessert is sugar cream pie. Not healthy at all. Guaranteed like diabetes in every bite, unhealthy, but oh so good. Anyhow, let me, you know what, we don't even have to grab a plate, because I can just take a piece right here and give it a try. That's good. Very French toast-like. I did not put the cinnamon in it, which Chris said that's what they always put in theirs growing up. Because I don't know if she's ever made it in the 20 years no, I know she hasn't. In the 20 years we've been together, 20 some years we've been together. But that's really good. You know, they said you could eat it just like this. The handful of recipes I did read, because there were only a handful to read, on stovetop versions of this, which were all pretty much the same. Things that varied were amount of eggs, amount of vanilla, butter. Yeah, I mean, just like little things, but the sugar was pretty much the same. Milk and heavy cream, the same. But I read one, and I wish I had some. It recommended drizzling a caramel sauce over it, or eating it plain. Chris has informed me that there is a bread pudding glaze that you can put over it, or you could probably make just a basic like cinnamon roll glaze to put on top of this. I think the raisins definitely add something to it. But yeah, no, I like this. This is good. You know, like I said, I don't have anything to compare it to because I've never had it, but I would eat this, and I would like to try it in the oven. It's very similar to my French toast casserole recipe. I mean, the ingredient levels are different, but they're essentially still the same. That's good. Yep, I definitely like that. That'd be good with some caramel sauce, side of ice cream, or some icing. I don't know if chocolate would work on that. It might. Or even a nice jam or preserve. Yep. Yeah. Give this a try. That is good. Didn't take long at all. You know, took a whopping maybe 25-30 minutes tops, and that was with getting everything together. And you've got yourself a nice little snack, if nothing else. Something quick and easy for a weeknight. If you're looking for a dessert, or you know you have suddenly company coming over, in-laws, mom and dad, cousins, whatever, neighbors. I think you should have somebody over to dinner at least once a week. You know, we try to, usually on Wednesdays. A lot of times it's you guys. You know, you guys have got to see what I've eaten every Wednesday night for 2 years, a little over 2 years, 3, a lot. I mean, it's been years. Every Wednesday night, you get to see what I have for dessert every Thursday, which is kind of cool. I mean, if you think about that. But yeah, give this a try. Let me know if you do down in the comments, or over on Facebook. Either me or Chris, one of the two, are on that almost every day. Probably more so her than me. But that's going to change. Like I said, there are some changes coming after the first of the year that I am truly excited about, and I'll share them after the holidays, what all those things are. It doesn't so much involve this channel other than, you know, we'll have more time to spend together, but at the same time, it's going to be fun. Anyhow, next week, I have no idea what we're going to do for dinner. Dessert is probably going to be rice pudding, but I could be wrong. We could find something else to get into. Next week is going to be really hectic. I have a bunch of orders being made up and that I've got to get out. It's Christmas Eve, and you know, lots of cookies, some pies, some pumpkin rolls, things of that nature. Have all got to go out next week, and it's a bunch of cookies. So it may involve cookies. You never know. You never know. But anyhow, till next week for dinner on Wednesday, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and you love them very much. They may need to hear it. At least it's going to make them feel good to hear it, and it's going to make you feel good to tell them. You know, and if you make them some of this stovetop bread pudding, they're going to know it, and it's going to lead to, you know, all kinds of conversation, probably an entire afternoon. You could have a cup of coffee with this and spend a good hour or two with a friend or a neighbor, or make a new friend. You never know. You know, go introduce yourself to the family that lives behind you. I bet you haven't met them yet, have you? So anyhow, till next Wednesday, I love you. I'll talk to you then. All right? Bye.